to welcome you guys to episode 5. For those of you guys that are tuning in on a regular basis, we appreciate it. And we need you guys to go listen to our podcast on Spotify because although y'all looking at the videos on YouTube, we need y'all to really get on Spotify and leave comments
Right.
and check us out because we're really trying to blow up this podcast. Uh, what we're saying is, some real stuff that people need to hear. Y'all tuning in to, all this ratchet TV stuff. We gonna need y'all to tune
Real
into
life
some real stuff.
stories. We telling real life stories, things that we've been through, things that we've seen others that's close to us go through, and all of that. And I know it can help people out there.
hmm So, yeah, my episode today is gonna kind of piggyback off of what Creasha was talking about last week about narcissistic behaviors. And this is for the younger women that may be going through this. And I know I mentioned this in a few episodes. uh, it's very important to pay attention to the red flags that you see. I know often when you like someone or you love someone, you choose to ignore the red flags because you're so hopeful that, it's really not like it is. But I can't stress this enough. When somebody shows you who they really are, you got to believe them. I don't care
Definitely.
what they, I don't care what they telling you. We need you to put some steps behind that. And if they showing you who they are, you gotta believe it and you gotta move accordingly. You can't be giving your all to people that's not invested in you as much as you are them. Um, just to
Girl.
just to give you guys a little backstory, I'm currently going through a separation from my husband of 9.5, well 7.5 years, but 9.5 years together. And uh, this is really hard. It's a transition. I have to move, change my kids' schools, things like that. I didn't see it happening because he was such a different guy from my past relationships. I'm used to dating, thugs, gangbangers, men with no job. You know what I mean? And he was different. He had his pilot's license. He was very intelligent, didn't talk you know, like regular Negroes did. You know what I mean? He doesn't cuss, he's very calm, and he worked all the time. I met him, he had 3 jobs. I met him making between 80 to $100,000 a year. So it was definitely a step up because the guys I dated didn't ever work. I did everything. I had all the cars, I had the places, I did everything. So yeah, I'm like, I had been celibate for 2.5 years. And so I finally was getting my foot back out there into dating. And, we didn't rush. We talked for months before we met. And when we finally did, I kind of felt like because we had that opportunity to talk that would make a difference. But I started noticing red flags like right out the gate. And I should have paid attention to them because I wouldn't be in this situation now. I remember one particular time we were going from his place to my place, and we stopped to grab some food that he made. And when he went inside to grab the food, his phone like beeped. And I look at it, and it's a message from I'm assuming a woman that said, baby, I need some more money for the room. So right there, I'm like, he comes out. And that's the thing, ladies. Like, we confront a man. If you're not willing to take the steps to, move on from that, there's no need in even confronting them or bringing it up because we
Yeah.
so, yeah, we're so easily,
If you're gonna
uh,
take them back.
yeah. Not only that, we allow them to dismiss things so easily, and we accept that excuse for the be all, and it's not really like that. If you feel like, you can tell when somebody tell you something that it don't make sense and it's still some loose ends to it. If you feel that way, more times than likely you correct. You got to learn how to follow your instinct.
Intuition, man. That
hmm
woman's intuition.
Yep. It's even I wouldn't even just say women's intuition.
Love will
Sometimes
make
it
you
be
pass
God.
things up.
Yeah, sometimes it be God though. He'll open your eyes to some stuff, and then it's
And we
pretty
still don't
much.
listen.
Yeah, I was just about to say that it's pretty much what you do with that after that. You know what I mean? God can't walk for you. He can only show you, and you got to make the decisions after that.
Man,
But I started to see more things happening, like inappropriate conversations with him and his son's mother, and things like that. And he started to put a lock on his phone. And I know we were probably about 9 or 10 months into dating, and we were going out for something to eat, just casually driving down the street. And he just blurts out to me like, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm married." And I'm just like, "What?" I was like so mad in the moment. I'm going off, and he's like, "Well, it's not a big deal because we're in the process of a divorce, and I was only with her for this." And I'm just like, who
wow.
does it? That's like a big red flag right there, because that's a liar right there. And if you start a relationship like that, it's built on a lie.
Yeah. How you start a relationship is how you're going to finish one, because that's the comfortable space right there. You know, like if you start a relationship and you ain't do much, you gonna continue in because you ain't never
Yeah,
had to do much. So you gotta,
exactly.
and that's why you don't go into relationships without knowing what you're looking for. Because a lot of us just be looking for simple stuff when we're young. We just want somebody to be
Yeah.
around, you know. But when you get to a certain point in your life, if you with that person from 17, 18, by the time you get 25, 30, you're going to start looking at that person differently because you want some different things to happen. Like when we in our 20s, we only want to probably smoke a blunt and have some sex and just chill, and let the kids eat their snacks and watch their little videos. But when you 30, 40 years old, you like, why my house don't got no nice bed? Why I don't got no nice furniture? Why, my kids ain't doing these things and in these type of programs? Your stuff is different. The wants that you have when you're 20 is different when you 40. And if the man ain't on the same page, then the level of that relationship is going to be off balance because you going to be wanting things that he not even thinking about giving you, and
And
then we're
also,
miserable.
yeah, I don't think it's logical for a person to expect you to be the same person you was 10 or 15
But they
years ago.
do, and you know it.
Yeah, yes. And you gotta expect, even with our children, like I know me and you talked about it, like the differences in our younger ones versus our older ones and how they throw it in our face in the different ways we parent now. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, I tell my kids, like, don't you want me to be a better mom every day? Like, you should be glad that I'm changing and improving my parenting, you know, when you guys were younger. You should want better for your younger siblings. And they
Yeah,
don't understand it right now, but
yeah,
it's just like you said with, you want different things in your 30s and your 40s. And
yeah.
you know we were just talking about, sometimes you have friends that's doing better than you, and you don't hate on them, but you jealous, but not because they're doing
And
good, you
it's
jealous.
like, oh, I don't like you because you don't have it. It's more so like, damn, what did I do wrong in my life to not deserve
Yeah.
that, not to be able to
I'm
acquire
working
those?
just as hard, I'm grinding just as hard. In fact, I'm doing more than these people, that's, you know what I mean, like.
But like we just talked about earlier, we just spent our time loving the wrong men, chasing after the wrong man. We was looking for the wrong things. We wasn't ready for no real man anyway. That's why we ended up with the type of situations we had, because we didn't even value our own selves to even be able to be like, I can speak for myself, I wasn't woman enough to be with no real man because I
I'm
didn't even
glad
have
you
those
said that.
fundamentals. But now I know the things that I've done wrong and the things that you need to do to be a wife and to be a good woman and all of that. But when you give it to the wrong people for so long, it's like you drained by now, like shit. I gotta do this all
I
over
was
again.
just I was just listening to Keep It Positive, Sweetie podcast, and Sherry Shepherd was a guest on there, and she was saying the same thing. Like, she used to question, because she's like 50 something right now, early 50s, but she used to question God, like, Why not me? I'm working just as hard as these people. When my success gonna come? And
Mm-hmm.
she said something that was so important. It's like what you just said. Sometimes you not mature enough and ready for that, and God'll make you wait on it.
Yeah.
Like right now, she was ready for it. You have to mature. You have to learn. You may not be able to process that, and you may have just ran it into the ground if God blessed you at that point. You know what
Exactly.
I mean?
Yeah.
And I think about that sometimes, like as much as, in our 20s, we prayed to be in better
Mm-hmm.
situations and
Mm-hmm.
we just
You
couldn't
have to
get
go
there.
through them hard times to respect the best times. And now,
But we weren't mature enough then either. Like you said, our priorities like always have been our kids, but we didn't prioritize ourselves and the value of having a good man, you
yeah.
know,
Well,
and
that's
all that.
just like my thing is when I got out of high school, I went to do my medical assistant right after graduated. And when I graduated, I was pregnant with Demir, so I really didn't do nothing with that certificate. I didn't. I ended up coming out to Vegas, and, my life was up and down from that point. But I brought that up to say that it took me like 15 years to actually do what I planned to do a long time ago because I had to be ready for this journey, and I wasn't ready back then. I would have probably got a job and killed it, lost my license and all type of stuff. So I had to have kids and go through life and learn some things, a lot of things before I ended up actually coming into myself and being grown. And now I do have the medical job and I am appreciating it more and doing what I'm supposed to do, versus at 18, I didn't give a damn. I wanted to smoke weed with the homies. But, sometimes you do have to wait because it's God's timing. And if He would have blessed me with that a long time ago, I would have probably lost that. So you definitely want to be mindful of that. Sometimes He make you wait.
Yeah, definitely. Jumping back into my relationship with my husband, I would say, there were a lot of inconsistencies in that relationship. Like, he never had clothes over. About a year into our relationship, he moved in with me. He never brought clothes over, never brought
Wow.
anything over. We moved to a place finally together,
Ever question
and
that?
that's what I was going to get to. We moved to a place together, and our aunt came to visit. Our aunt and Granny, rest in peace, Granny Rochelle, but they
Yeah.
came to visit, and that's the first thing they mentioned. I remember Auntie was like, "This the guy you married, and he don't have no clothes over here or nothing." Like, and that's the first time it clicked in my head. Like, silly me, all this time, like I thought that was normal, and I believed everything he said. Like, the whole time, the whole couple years we were together before we got married, I would go out with my coworkers. They would have parties and stuff, and I would always go out, and they would always ask me like, "You sure you got a boyfriend? Because he ain't never around." Blah blah. And they thought he was a figment of my imagination. And I was like, "No, he works all the time." And they was like, "You sure he ain't got no girlfriend?" Even my coworkers could see the little inconsistencies already.
Wow.
And I'm just like, no, I really believe, because I told you when I met him, he had 2, 3 jobs. So I believe that
That
that's
he
what he
was
was really
always
doing.
busy and that was just his life.
Yeah. It even got to the point to where, um, I just stopped going like to my coworkers get-togethers and stuff because I got tired of them pressuring me until, finally I was just like, one time we were sharing a vehicle. We were sharing my vehicle, and I remember it was numerous times that I would get off. I was a manager, and we would close, and I would be up there waiting for like an hour after for my car to get picked up. So just little stuff like that. And my coworker, I had a sweet coworker. His name was Hugo, and he would wait with me every night, even though he could go home. He would be like, "No, I'm gonna wait with you. I don't want to leave you out here by yourself." But that's the type of shit I was doing early on. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I remember when we finally got married, and that's another thing, ladies. I remember I got to a point, because I met him when I was probably 27, 28. I got to a point where I had got so desperate to get married. I was almost 30 and I thought I should be. I had 5 kids already. So I was really like, he started talking about marriage and stuff. So I was really pressing the issue, and I shouldn't have been. Because if a man want to marry you, they know they want to marry you. You don't have to ask them; they gonna ask you. You don't have to mention it; they gonna mention it to you. And
Definitely.
so that's another thing. I felt like I was too eager to want to get married, and that kind of contributed to how much of the nonsense I tolerated for this long.
Hmm.
And I remember maybe a month after we got married, that's why I said God will show you things and you got to listen. We were laying in bed, and I remember a voice in my head said, check his phone, something is going on. And so I grabbed it, and I see this girl calling him baby and just inappropriate conversations. So I text her like, how do you know my husband? And she texts me back like, not only am I fucking him, but we got a baby together.
Oh
And
wow.
I was just, I
Wow.
was floored. Like, I can't even
I bet your
explain.
stomach dropped.
That's what I was just about to say. I can't even describe the feeling, because remember, I had just married this man too. And
Wow.
the let me tell you about the wedding. I married him on his lunch break. We had no photos. I wore an old dress that I had, and he went right back to work after we got married. And he kind of rushed through the ceremony. Like, I don't even think he was really listening. And those were all red flags that I should have been paying attention to.
Yeah.
But I confronted him, and he got up, jumped in his car, and left for like almost, I said, about 2.5 hours. Just left me sitting there like, I was like on the floor crying. And he
Wow.
finally came back and was like, yeah, it's true. And that was it. That's all the explanation I got.
Damn.
And I remember then I wanted to leave so bad. And for whatever reason, he begged me to stay and said he would make it up to me. And that's one thing I want to tell y'all. I don't care if you've been in a relationship with a man that cheated once and he didn't do it again. It's always a possibility that he will. Once a cheater,
Definitely.
always a cheater. There is a lot of men out there that don't cheat. I'm not gonna, put everybody in the
Not
same
these
group,
generations.
but yeah, I'm gonna just say that if you find all that out in the beginning, it's time to go, because it only gets worse after
Hmm.
that. More babies came. He would bring women's cars to our house and park them in front of our house. I would catch him in other women's cars. I put GPS trackers in the car, caught him at other women's houses. Um, so yeah, it was a lot. I put so much energy into chasing this man that other areas of my life were deficient. You understand what I'm saying?
Hmm.
My happiness, the time I spent with my kids, because I'm chasing down this person and that. You know what I mean?
Well,
And that's one thing that I need you guys to remember. You can never get so distracted by a man that you take away from yourself and your children and your priorities. Because I had a couple businesses that I wasn't putting my all into, because I was putting my all into this. And you know just a lot of stuff.
yeah.
I got 2 degrees during the course of our marriage, almost a master's, but he never attended any one of my graduations, never congratulated me, never gave me a gift card, nothing. I had a graduation party. My sister came, my aunt came, uh, my foster dad came, people I hadn't seen for years came, but not him.
The man you stay with didn't even make it.
Do you want to share any situations like that you went through?
Talking about red flags from the beginning, you saw some of the first red flags, Knew this was a crazy situation because it was like from the start, the anger was there. I remember when we stayed together and locked my baby daddy out the house, and he bust the window and opened the door right back. You remember that day? Just crazy.
Hmm.
Pulling guns on people because
I
what?
forgot about that.
They lost their keys, but keys. Um, I remember when I was 8 months pregnant with my son and went to see him in jail, and it was a whole damn another female there. He had been writing her and fucking telling her the same stuff he telling me. Now here it is, you have a whole ass baby on the way, and you playing both sides. I should have left then, but I still stayed, and back and forth from California to Vegas, from California to Vegas, back and forth, you know. It's, I mean, shit, the last apartment building we was in, he was screwing a girl in the front. Screwing a girl in the front.
Oh, tell
And
us
the
about that.
craziest part is she stayed above the damn office, and her fucking apartment was 22 and our apartment was 22.
Wow.
It's crazy. And then I think when
How did you find
out
out about that?
because one day I went on his voicemail and was checking the voicemail and heard her on there talking, and I happened to call her back, and she's like, I swear he comes, because he comes real fast to see me, so you guys must stay around here. And it's so crazy because this is the thing I need to tell people. If you do the same thing every day, you need to be aware that the person you're dating and stay with you, they know what you do every day. So if a man
Right.
is gonna cheat on you, he gonna watch your every moves and know what you're doing, because he knew my shit to the T. And I didn't change my program or at all, you know, because I was just going to work and coming home. I was in a
You didn't
relationship.
think it was a
Yeah.
need to.
And you know me, I don't kick it with people in apartment complexes or any of that, you know, because I don't do drama. So I didn't go that way. It was like two ways to get out the apartment complex, and I went the easiest way that was closer to me, you know? He went that way. He went out his way to go to the front, and that's what he was doing. I'm thinking he outside chilling with the homies. He up in there laid up with her. Like, what the hell? I'm over here taking care of these kids, been at work all day, let you get out the house to get a break, and this is your break? Ain't that a bitch? Like, it's crazy. We can't make these stories up. So yes, I do understand. It's
What
crazy.
happened after what happened after that?
Of course, he just lied, like, oh, I didn't do anything, and you know, same thing you did, took him
Like
back.
I said, we let them explain away shit too easily.
Exactly. It's been so many situations, man, like crazy. I mean, I'm talking about I'm at a store and a fucking girl is just looking at my car. So you know me, I'm crazy. I hop out. Like, what are you looking at my car for? She like, oh, this why you ain't calling me, cause your baby mama. And I'm just looking like, what the hell? Like, how I just pull up at a random store with you and the girl just walk up and she
She
knows
was
you.
bold to even do that.
Girl, it's crazy. I mean, I can't make this stuff up. It's just crazy. Like, it's
And what
embarrassing.
happened then? Because he face to face with both of y'all.
I
What
was
was
about to fight her, but you know how my baby daddy is. Like, when he cornered, he get angry and try to go off on everybody to diffuse the
they
situation.
all do that. My husband
Yeah,
does that
it's
too.
like, how
That's
you
the
going
first
up
thing
on
they
me?
do.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
It's a deflection technique. That's
Yeah,
all it is.
that's that.
To take the heat off
Sadistic
themselves.
behavior. That's that. I'm gonna manipulate you and make you feel like it's all your fault. You the reason why I did this.
I call it the victim syndrome.
Look, not because you a big boy and you can make your own decisions, because that's what you told me. And then when you make your own decisions, they screwed up ones, and you want to blame me for those decisions too. It's crazy.
Blame me for the reaction to your decisions.
Yep. They gonna blame you for the reason they made that decision, and then when you react, they gonna blame you for that too. So it's the same thing. It's crazy, man. That's how it
I
is,
haven't
man.
I haven't had a situation like that, but I remember one time when cuz I'm not I have real bad like social anxiety, so I don't go out to the clubs, I don't be around people, I don't have friends. But I remember probably about 12, 15 years ago when I lived in Vegas, I went out with my daughter's father one night, and I never, especially him, I never went out with him because, you know, he was a gangbanger. He hung out with a whole bunch of ratchet folks, and I wasn't trying to involve
Right.
myself with them people.
Yeah.
Uh, but I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out one night. I went and I don't dance or anything. I just sit at the bar and watch my surroundings. That's what I do. And then I see this girl that's always been around. She's so ratchet and drunk, but it's like she wants me to know like that they had something going on because of the way she keep trying to dance with him. And so I'm just like, she kept trying to get a reaction out of me, and I wasn't tripping off that. Um, because I wasn't gonna dance anyway. So when she kept doing that, that's when I just got up and I went over there and I cut in and started dancing with him. But
Oh man.
I say that because come to find out later, he had actually slept with her a few times. So I guess she was low key, like who is this? Who is
Uh,
this broad you bringing around here? Who is this? You know what I mean?
I can't stand
And
people do that.
I can't. But that wasn't the first time. He had me around so many women that he has slept with that I had been in a house type stuff. My
See, I
kids had
was
been
a
in
little
the
different.
house.
See, I was a little different than that. I know I had a different type of relationship with my first kid's father. So, I remember being at one of his hood functions and I was just paying attention to his homegirl and him, and their behavior was a little weird. But you see, I was real with the shit, so to speak, when I was younger,
Yeah,
when
I remember them days.
so I just peeped their little style, and I can tell that they had a little crush on each other, So I pretty much went up to both of them and was like, "Look, we got a room around the corner. Y'all can go handle y'all business because I know y'all feeling each other, and I'd rather you do it in front of me than what I'm saying, do it behind my back, because then I'm gonna have a problem with your homegirl and this girl from your hood, and all of
Oh, I
that."
remember you telling me that.
Like,
So I didn't know she was from his hood though.
my baby daddy was like, "What?" And I sure did take their ass to that room and let them handle their business, because I'm like, "Look, I already know how it is." And back then, I just didn't have no fucks to give. I didn't care. I'm like, me and him had that type of relationship, though. I knew that I could trust him on shit like that. So it was all good.
What you mean you knew she could trust him like that? He wasn't gonna go back for seconds.
Nah, I just knew that we had that type of relationship. Like, we played the streets like that when we was young. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all
Like,
have fun.
yeah, but that was my ace boom coon, like, for sure, for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's the main thing I respected about that situation, is he didn't lie about it. My other kid's father, I'd have loved him a lifetime, but he lied to me too much. He lied to me way too much, and scarred my heart in a way that he can never come back from. But
That's the thing too. Like, you know, people always fear that when they tell the truth that the person not gonna accept it or be cool with it, but y'all Negroes don't give us a chance. Like literally, we tell y'all, be real with us, tell us, give us a choice though. It's when you try to take
mhm,
away our choice and decide for us. Like
yes,
he just gonna be here and I'm gonna do what I want to do. Like no, it don't work
exactly.
like that.
And that's the thing. Like, you don't know what a person will accept. Not saying that
Mm.
we want you to just drag us through the mud, but sometimes
Right.
I understand that
But
people.
look at what you was willing to
Yeah,
accept. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody is like that, but
yeah,
that's cool. How can you get more of a cool woman like that? Work hard, play hard. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have no kids at that time, but you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? So why would you know what I'm saying? That's probably why your baby daddy was cool like that because you can't get no better than that.
yeah. I mean, even the second one, like I've dealt with him for years, and whether it was on me or him, whether I screwed up, he screwed up, we both had things that we did wrong, but for the most part, he drugged me through the mud. You know what I'm saying? And I still loved him. And you know that, for it took a long time to get to the point of just saying fuck it. I got to worry about myself, because if a person ain't worried about you after 17 years, I mean, and not even talking financially, just more, of what you need in your grown woman, you got to go find it elsewhere, because you can't sit here and play with people until you 65 years old. Like, hell no. If you're not going to be good to me, I'm going to go find me somebody that's going to be good to me. If you don't want to
Exactly.
respect me in front of these kids, I'm going to go find me somebody that will respect me and my kids, to see us living happily ever after, and who gives a damn about everything else, because I stay a long time. And now it's time for me to move forward and do what makes Creasha happy. And you on the same tip, sis.
Yeah, I feel like you get to a certain point in your life where if you try it for so long, and that's the thing, like it can't just be one person trying for the
Yeah.
entire time of the relationship. It's got to be two people, because if you do all the work by yourself and it weighs on you
Yeah.
that you doing everything, you gotta, it's a partnership. That's what marriage is. You gotta have communication, you gotta have trust, and especially when one person breaks either of those and then act like, they don't got to do nothing to get it back. Like it's just supposed to be given. And that's the problem. Like we got to stop giving it off top. It's got to be earned off top. You
Yes.
can't just be giving it just because we like somebody or love somebody. You got to earn it. That way it's consistent throughout the whole relationship.
Yeah. You can't
Just
just
like,
run around taking whatever.
yeah, just like you said earlier about, coming in doing the minimum and then 10 years later, they still expect that you go accept the minimum. And
Yeah.
that's why we got to start taking some of the responsibility as women, because
Yeah.
a man only going to do what you let him do. And it's
I
sad that, when you love hard and you want to believe the best, you're always hopeful that there's room for change and that you can
Mhm.
help that person change, but you can't control nobody but yourself. You only can work on you, and if you choose to stay with the person when you know how they are, then you just gotta either learn to hush and
Yeah.
not say nothing, because at the end of the day it's your choice. And you know I made that mistake too. Like, if I wasn't gonna leave, I should have just shut up. And I heard that so many times from like my brothers and stuff like that, that
Yeah.
it was no use in complaining, because every day, every time it happened, I was just like, okay, well, mad for a few days, over it the next couple of days.
Yeah.
So
It's a vicious cycle we living in because it's like as long as us women keep accepting these sorry ass men, they gonna keep being like that because it's no one to tell them not to, versus all these ratchet women. If the man keep dealing with them, which most men don't care about no ratchet woman, they just want to hit it and quit it. Most
yeah,
men with you know you ratchet, they ain't
they
trying.
don't really care what a woman is.
Yeah,
Long they only care about what's between your legs. They
but see,
don't care about your
when you older,
accomplishments,
you
your
think about
beauty.
different stuff. You think about different stuff when you in your 20s. You want to play those games and stuff. But I'm almost 40. I ain't. I'll be damned. I got a 19-year-old that got his own car, that got his own money, that got his own this and that. I ain't finna deal with no man in his 30s that can't provide, that can't do nothing. You messing with a woman with a grown ass kid, you better come correct. You better definitely damn come correct. Don't
Not
come.
only that, if you messing with a woman with kids, I think it's important for men to stop. If you're not gonna be there for them children and really
Yes,
be involved, don't date no woman with no kids,
exactly.
because you do a disservice to her and her kids. Because
You
if you're not
definitely do.
pouring into them children or teaching them positive or doing things for
Being
them,
some type of role
then
model at all.
yeah, it's pointless for you to be around. And that's another thing, because with kids it's responsibilities, financial, emotional, physical. And if you're not willing to do that, then it's just best uh that you just not be involved. And I know for me, when I was dating my husband, I told him, like, the responsibilities that this come with and all that. And he acted like he knew, but he really didn't. And that's the
I
thing, like,
appreciate them men that do.
yeah, and that's what I mean about doing the bare minimum. Like the whole 10 years I was with him, I think we went out probably 3 or 4 times. He never took my kids out anywhere, never played with them, never did anything with them. And I look back on that now, like, man, that's a decade of, it could have been a positive experience, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
And that's what you got to pay more attention to. And now I'm just like to the point, like, I would rather be miserable by myself than be miserable and just because I'm married. You know what I mean?
exactly.
And that's what it comes down to. It, like
Yeah,
I mentioned before, I've been so busy being these kids' mom and then now a wife. Like, I don't know who Brittany is. I don't know what I like, what I want to do. And that's what I'm trying to figure out on my own, do different things. You know, I know you went on a trip with your friend, your best friend, and now you planning a birthday extravaganza in March.
Same thing with me, like I went to my older sister party a few years ago and she had an all white for her 40th, and I just realized, I was separated from my baby daddy at that point already, and I just realized like I haven't lived. I haven't been
Yeah,
myself. I've been so caught up in this relationship trying to please this man and be who he expects me to be and
yeah.
who his family expected
Oh,
me to
that's another thing. Yeah,
live up to their standards, and I lost myself into all of that because before this relationship I was a damn kid. I didn't even know who I was as a grown woman. I've always looked up to his mom as the mother because I met her at 21. All my aunties was ratchet. I didn't have nothing to look up to in my family. You know what I'm saying? Nothing. I mean, my dad's sister, yeah, for sure, but I didn't spend every single day with her.
yeah.
I
You didn't
didn't.
have a positive
Yeah,
woman to
so
look
I
up
didn't
to.
have no
Yeah,
role models and stuff like that. So I just did what I did until I met his family, and I just was like, "Dang, this is a real good family. I want to learn
yeah,
from them." But when you're dealing with a narcissist, they lie on you a lot. So the perception of me was different than it really was, and I still haven't had a chance to, tell my side of the story, so to speak, in the real way. But I just leave it alone at this point, and if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. Otherwise, I'm just gonna leave it alone. But I know who I was in that situation, and I was moving based off of the ideal life I had planned for myself, But obviously, we didn't want the same things. I thought that we would change and grow together, and that shit didn't work like that. It just really taught me a lot about myself that I wasn't living, I was surviving. And that's hard, when you gotta really realize that you've been
yeah. That you just surviving.
yeah,
That's exactly what it is.
hardcore, and you don't know.
All these years. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna say. We worked hard, and that's to go back to what we were talking about being jealous sometimes of the people around us because you work so hard, you give all. Like it's times where we work two jobs. You know what I mean? And being a mother, like we're there, all our kids' assemblies, parent teacher conference, everything we need to be,
yeah,
extracurricular activities, all that. And then you working, and then I remember everybody asking, like, what do you do for yourself? There is no time left for myself.
yeah,
Once we get home, it's nothing left. Like that's just part of being a mom. Like it's always
yeah.
you always doing something for somebody
You
else
were on the back burner at all times,
at
and
all times.
I mean, for me, I know on the weekends I'm off, so I have to get up at like 4 in the morning. I'm up just to get me an hour or two before
Yeah.
my
Hmm.
kids hit the floor, because you're gonna be a mom soon as they wake up. Mom was
Yep.
and all of it. You gotta clean, you gotta do laundry, you gotta do all these things, go grocery shopping, go get house products, all of those things
They
you
gonna be turning flips and running through the house and
yeah.
asking you for this, asking you for that. Yeah.
I mean,
That's
yesterday I was supposed to get on the podcast with you yesterday, and I took them out and came home and crashed. So you don't even be
yeah.
having your own time. It's crazy, girl.
That's
Yeah.
how it was for me too. Like, yesterday my day was spent. I was off yesterday and I did the same thing. I took my son
Hmm.
to this little thing his school had where you could feed the horses, and they had a little breakfast and some vendors and games and
Hers was
activities
on
and stuff.
Friday. They had that on Friday.
Yeah, I remember you went to one Friday. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like when you so involved with your kids and then your spouse or significant other, you rarely have time for yourself. So when you said like you get up at 4 or 5 so you can have that hour or two to yourself before they hit the flow, yeah, it's
Yeah.
important. And I think that you gotta find the time, even if it's 30 minutes a day. You gotta find some time to where I know it's hard because even with my son, I'm always like,
Hmm.
you know, mom needs a little time to herself just for a little while, and he don't
You're
understand that.
trying to date when you a single mom is
Yeah,
even harder because you can't really get out. You can't
Yeah,
really,
there
because
isn't that other parent there to take
yeah,
over for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you
So
just be here doing what you got to do every day.
yeah, even when you don't feel like, I know it's days when I'm sick and I don't want to move, I don't want to get
I,
up, but I have to. And it's
that's being
days when you
a
don't
mom.
want to go to work. Like,
Well, I
yo,
listened to this little part of a movie. I can't remember the name of the movie, but I'm sure you've seen it all over Facebook. Loretta, I think her last name is. I don't know what her last name is, but
Devon,
yeah, her. And she talk about the single mom and all the stuff they gotta do and everything, and she's telling the baby father to respect her and all. She just breaks it down in that show, and I'm just like, man, single the other parents that don't have their kids all day every day, like y'all have no
oh,
idea what
they
we
have no idea what it
have
goes
no idea
into.
what it really takes to actually be there for these kids daily. They go through emotional stuff. They go through all kind of things that you don't ever see. Especially if you ain't co-parenting properly, you don't even know none of that because you ain't thinking to
If
act.
you're not actively parented,
If you
yeah.
feed, I put it like this: if you a parent that's outside the home and you feed yourself every day, you know damn well them kids need to eat every day. If you wash your ass every day, you know damn well them kids need soap and all the things that come with it to make that happen. Everything that goes on with your body goes on with those kids' body. So if you
Mhm.
ain't involved in it, who you think is doing those things? Every single thing that
Not
needs to
only
be done.
that, I'm tired of men not wanting to contribute inside they baby mama household because they don't live there. Your kids live there. Your kids eating that food. Your kids using that gas. Your kids using the electricity. So that's their house too. You got to pay for where your kids live at. Unless y'all have, that agreement to where, the child is your responsibility when they with you, and then, the mom's responsibility when they with her. But more than likely it's always where y'all split everything. You got to stop doing that. If you see your baby mama down and the child live with the mom, help out. Pay the light bill. I don't care if she got other kids by other men. That doesn't matter. Your child lived there, and you always got to see
Hmm.
the bigger picture. You can't just be petty and always think about. That's what's wrong with a lot of men. Once y'all don't have a relationship with the mom, y'all stop having a relationship with the child. And
Exactly.
your relationship with the child should not be contingent on your relationship with the mother.
And also
Especially,
to add to that, if you got kids in separate households, make sure you do for all those kids. Nobody's in competition with each other on how much you take care of this kid versus that kid.
make
Just
sure
do
you
your
do
damn
the
job all
same
the way
for
around.
each
Just
child.
do your job all the way around because each kid requires stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not, oh, every time you get this kid a pair of shoes, get that kid a pair of shoes. It's whatever they need, get
I
that.
was just gonna say that because the kids are different ages, they
Yeah.
require different things. Like you
Yeah.
said, you gotta make sure you giving them the same, but make sure it's for that child. You know what I mean? Make sure it's
Exactly.
appropriate for that child. And yeah, that's very important because I'm constantly seeing like how petty men could be. They don't want to do for their child, just because they not with the woman and they don't live in the household. Like, come on, man, you got to do better than that. And the same for women too. If your child live with the dad and the dad's struggling, help the dad out.
Exactly.
Like, help him out. Pay the light bill. Put some food in the house. And so many times, family members too and friends. If you stand with a friend or a family member that got kids, they shouldn't have to ask you to contribute. They shouldn't have to ask you to do stuff because you
No,
already know that they on their own and they got all these mouths to feed, however many mouths to feed. Don't add your mouth on top of that, and don't add you as a responsibility to them too. I always talk about when you grown, you shouldn't have to tell another grown person what they should be doing. They should already know.
etiquettes to this stuff.
Yeah, you should already know. Like, I shouldn't have to tell you that you should put food in the house. You eat here, you live here. I shouldn't
Right.
have to tell you that you need to help clean up. You live here, you dirty up here. And even if somebody tell you, go ahead and get yourself together, you ain't got to give me nothing. It's common courtesy to kick in here and there. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Not even, it doesn't even have to be on a regular basis, but
Just
just to show
observe
that,
if you see something that's
yeah,
low,
if you see
pick it up,
something,
replenish
and
it.
if you see we running out of groceries, go pick them up. If you see the bill coming, you see it's high, pay it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think too many times, like family members take advantage sometimes, and
Yeah, versus trying to come together and help each other.
yeah, yeah, that's why Hispanics can live in a household together, and they be bossing up because everybody work together. They see the bigger picture,
Yeah,
and
black people be trying to keep their money and use your
yeah.
shit up.
Not only that, we always hating on our people, and it's like everybody say it's a crab in a barrel mentality. We don't feel like everybody can eat from the same buffet we eating from. You feel
Because
what
we
I'm
have that
saying?
for me mentality, everybody is for themselves and they own household and
Yep.
within their little circle. They ain't trying to extend the hand to anybody else. That's why I taught my kids at a young age how to feed the homeless on our own. Like
Yeah.
really get food, and cook it at our house and make up the plates and take our kids to feed the homeless, so they know it's people out here. When you think about
Yeah.
complaining about the little stuff you complaining about, it's people out here that got far worse problems, so you need to take them to see those things and give back to the community so that they have those things to reflect on when they older, so they not feeling like they entitled to everything. They know that things can be bad.
Yeah. I did. I used to do that too when my kids were younger. Bring homeless people clothes, feed them,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. That's actually where my passion is, and that's something that I plan to do in the next 5 years is open a homeless shelter
That's
because
what's up.
I stayed in a few when I was younger with my first two kids, and it was a lot of stuff that I saw that was wrong, and I wanted to change and help, but I want to help, just not. I don't want to have a shelter that's just for mothers and children or fathers and children. I want to help families with children. So if it's a single father or a mother, coming in, or if it's a family together, you got to put stuff in a place where they're actively job searching every week and saving their money a certain percentage every month and doing stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. That way, they're not on a in a cycle that keeps them in the same spot. You want them to leave. You don't want them to stay. You want to help them be self-sufficient.
Yeah, you want to have resources to help them get on their own and be independent.
hmm And I know too many times a lot of people open these nonprofit organizations and businesses and they just want the money. They don't really care about these people, especially since I know
Yeah.
you want to open like a home health care. I've worked in a few of those and been to a few.
And they are
And I've
not
seen,
all the time good.
yeah,
I had a
they're
right.
not good at all. They
Yeah.
treat the people bad. They
Yeah.
don't take proper care of
Yeah.
them, and
Nah.
it's all about the money. So I just feel like, you know, when you do, if you into like nursing or taking care of people, I think that should really be your passion, because
Hmm.
if that's not you're not gonna like it. You're gonna be miserable. It's gonna be reflected in your job. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be able to see that, and the
Yeah.
people be able to feel that. And when people in those kind of situations or in those placements, they need the extra care. They need the help. They need the support. They don't need you
Hmm.
mistreating them and just being in it for a paycheck. It's good when you have a career that you like and you make money from.
Yes.
And that's what drives and motivates you to do a better job.
Hmm. Definitely, because that's how I am at work, working with the older people. I just work with women, but all, shapes, sizes, and forms. But the older ones, I cling to them more because they are the ones that need your assistance. You never think you're going to be helping somebody get on the bed because they too weak to get up
Yeah.
on their own, but that's somebody's mom. And I have a mother in the home, in a nursing home. So I'm for damn sure going to be good to somebody else because I want them people to be good to my mom. And when I'm on the phone with her sometime, she has it on speaker and I'm saying that to her, like, be good to those nurses because they got to take care of you. And I want, them to take care of you the proper way. So make sure that you always respectful and you using your manners and all of that. It just, sometimes
Yeah.
you just need that extra hand, but you need a helping hand that care and understand the situation and why they there. Because if it's all for money, your attitude is gonna be nasty.
Yeah. Make sure, because another thing is I go to a lot of, like when I'm going to restaurants or fast food places, the people just miserable. They rude. They
Yes.
hand you your food, slam the door. They don't ask you nothing if you want anything. And it's so many times I gotta say this. If you don't like your job, get out of it. Because it's not the customer's fault that you don't like it.
Yeah.
It's not their fault that you just there for a check. Don't treat them
I
people
look at
bad.
it's a lot of that because
Yeah.
I couldn't believe going to Taco Bell by my house and I seen a little Hispanic boy come out and he's sagging, and I'm like, since when they let you sag at a fast food
Mhm.
restaurant? Like he literally had his pants down like he was a straight thug. And I'm just looking like, wow, these are the people that we got making our food now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
This is the most by far disrespectful, most disrespectful generation I've seen since being alive. Like these kids these days, these young adults these days are terrible. Like it's just terrible.
Yeah.
Like, sorry to cut you off, but like I was just telling you before we started this, that show, The Baddies, that is just the most ignorant show ever to come and just show all of our people acting foolish like this. Like you don't see none of them.
For no legit reason though.
Yeah, like you don't see none of them
It's really no legit reason. It's like they put them in the
trying
house to
to
stir up drama.
a tutorial about edges and how to swoop those things versus all this ignorant fighting and who did
Mhm.
this and who did that, and they getting stars and likes and hundreds of followers, thousands of followers just because they want to catch a fade and black somebody's eye, and now you looking like this when you go home to your kid. That's crazy nonsense.
Yeah, I think too many times like that's what's wrong with society.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to really have a grip on what your kids are watching and listening to, because
Yeah.
they are influenced by outside influences more than they are from what's inside their home, believe it or not. You could try to be the best example you can to your kids, and they'll go a whole different direction, and it's just like
You gotta
you
turn
wasn't raised like that.
that on.
Huh?
You gotta turn that TV off sometime and make them interact with each other in a kid way. Like all this social media, they stay on YouTube all day long. This is what is embedded in their brain. Like that's what they hear and see
Yeah.
every day. And these new games, like if your kids play these fighting games and stuff, this shit is graphic, man. They splitting people wigs. They splitting your whole body, busting out everything. Shit is falling out your chest. Your brains is splattered on it. Like that is too much graphics for a 7-year old, 9-year old, 12-year old. Like they don't understand the concept. Now they want to go to school and bust that little boy head open so it can be seen just like the fatality they watched last night. Like it's crazy.
I think well, since those when we were growing up, we didn't have all that, but we
Right.
had the old games like the Super Nintendo and
The best one
stuff like
ever.
that. But now the kids are more caught up, like you said, in the YouTube, the game, the PS5, all that stuff is fine. But I think it's also important, to spend time with your kids. Like I played games with my kids. We had movie night every week.
Yes. Board
We
game.
went somewhere. I worked every day, but on my off days, I made sure at least one day was dedicated to them. I know as moms, like when you have multiple kids, it's hard to give each one the necessary attention that they need. But I'm learning that now. And even if you didn't do it previously, it's always a chance to do it moving forward. And you can always be better. If you get the opportunity, find out what your older kids like, or find out what your children like, the differences in them, and tailor activities to that child for that. Even if you got to split it up, if you got 4 kids, each week let one of them pick the activity, that they want to do. And I think it's very important to, like, I know my daughter, she wanted to do hair. I bought her mannequins and hair supplies, stuff like that. Then she wanted to do nails. I bought her a whole bunch of nail stuff. So whatever your kids want to do, one of my twins wanted to be a social media influencer. I bought him a whole little setup to start shooting and all that. So it's important to find out what your kids like.
You gotta support
And
that.
and support that. Also, I wanted to leave this for the younger children that may be, starting to date and get into, puberty and start feeling, the need to have attention from the opposite sex. Too often, young girls, you get involved with these older men and they're just preying on you. They take advantage of you because they know, your age, your lack of maturity. Is girls that's running away. I speak from experience. You run away, an older man will take advantage of that, offer you a place to stay, just just for what's between your legs. Uh, it's important. I know, when I was young, I thought it was very flattering that older men were interested in me, but honestly, that was just my daddy issues and wanting some attention from somebody. My mom was never present. I didn't know my dad till I was about 13. So young girls, you just got to stop. Even if your dad is not in the picture, don't be so desperate for attention or affection from a man that you allow older men to prey on you and take advantage of you, because then you'll end up like me, two kids in high school by grown men and becoming a parent responsible for two other lives when I barely can take care of myself at that age. And not just for young girls. I've seen stories of older women preying on teenagers too. So that's why I want to make sure that, young girls and young men know that even though you may feel that you guys have similarities in common and that age ain't nothing but a number and it doesn't make a difference, it absolutely does. You may not know it at that point, but you'll learn. As you grow, you'll understand that, you were just a child and you were taken advantage of. And although you agreed to it, you didn't really know what you were doing. And I think that's important for young people to know that, um, more times than likely, when you lose your virginity when you're young, it's not going to be an amazing experience. It's only going to last for a few seconds. And you got to really be sure that that's what you want to do if you decide to do it, because you don't want to live your life with regrets later when you get our age. Is there anything you want to add to that?
Um, I just want to leave y'all with a message of to all the younger folk out there. You guys need to listen to these older people that be trying to give y'all the game and trying to give y'all, information on things to help you better your lives. If you disrespectful and somebody's trying to teach you about not being disrespectful and how to change things for the better in your life, you gotta listen, because the only way it's gonna work is if we all work together. You gotta give respect to get respect, and that don't matter where you coming from, what angle you coming from. If you want me to respect you, you gotta respect me. And also we gotta give people something to respect, because life is too short and we out here playing games with our lives and worried about the wrong shit. And we need to get it together as a community, as people on our own, individuals, all of that, because the better you are, the better your kids are, the better they kids will be. But if we don't get it together now, we gonna all be screwed, because this is a together situation. When one fall, we all gonna fall, because everybody is in this generation thinking they gotta be like the next person and they gotta have what the next person have, and that's not what we here for. We got to make this work in a positive way. It's too many people being killed. It's too many kids getting abused. It's too many people beating children and abusing people. It's a lot going on that we don't always see. That the world, the news only tell you what they want you to know. And while we sitting here chasing these nothing ass men, nothing ass women that don't want to get their stuff together, we got all the people over here that want to get it together and we ain't paying them no attention. So if some of these kids are crying out for help and people ain't even helping. Some of these people need resources to be open and y'all not even trying to open them up, so we got to work together. It's the cycle of life. Everybody got to put in something, for real, for real. But that's all I wanted to leave y'all with. Respect.
Um, for our next week episode, it'll be episode 6. Woohoo! We finally getting half halfway there.
Y'all.
Um, we're supposed to have a guest, our first guest. That's why it's going to be a really special episode. Hopefully, if everything goes well and God says the same, we'll have our first guest um, on the show next week. So you guys stay tuned for that. And again, if you guys have any questions, comments, any stories you want to share, feel free to email us at our email, loasm2024@gmail.com. We want to hear from you guys. We want to share some of your stories. Check us out on Spotify. We need y'all on Spotify too. Leave us a
Like and
comment.
subscribe, please, you guys. Y'all watching and we love it, but you gotta share our videos so your friends
Yeah.
can like it and subscribe and follow. So we
And make
can.
sure if you listening on YouTube, you go listen on Spotify, even if it's for a
Yes.
few minutes. At least listen to it and show your support on there too. Um,
And also,
and
we've been doing snippets. So if you want us to talk about certain things, or you got something to say, then let us know.
subscribe to all our social media sites. We're on TikTok, LOASM 2024. We're on Instagram.